everyone, so today's video is all about yarrow. Yarrow is one of my favorite perennials. There's a number of different reasons. Number one, it is drought tolerant. Number two, it grows in zones 3 to 9. Number three, the variety of colors. And number four, so easy to grow when you divide the plant. So you can divide this plant and replant it and start some more yarrow. Now yarrow will also self-seed, except for one that I've noticed does not self-seed. But first let's look at the different types of yarrow and colors. So for instance, this is Firefly Peach. This is a proven Winners yarrow. Very pretty, very peachy in tone. I love the color. This is one of the first whites I've ever seen that is this gorgeous. It's considered a vintage white. It grows readily when you split it, and you can make more plants. And the key to growing yarrow is you let it grow, and then you cut her back to the ground, leave a few leaves, and it will come back again and flush out a second time. This is the yellow yarrow. It's very striking in appearance. It stays in a beautiful mounding habit, as you can see here. I have not had any issues with this one spreading. Out of all the yarrows, this one stays in a compact form. Yes, the mounds get bigger over time, but it keeps its size. And it's silver foliage, which is different from the rest of them. This one is a must-have if you're looking for a bright yellow in your garden. These two here are the yarrow that I grew from seed. I'm waiting to see what colors they are. I got 10 seeds in a packet and I started the plants. They were a challenge to grow from seed indoors because they don't like a lot of moisture. So if you decide to grow yarrow from seed, cut back on the watering. They like dry conditions. This is an unknown variety of yarrow to me. I've had this variety for many, many years, and I have never seen it in a store sold anywhere. But you can see here, it is a light lavender. I wouldn't say it's a pink because it comes out more of a lavender, but as it fades more to like a soft pink. And you can see here what it looks like when it comes out. You can see it's more of a lavender there. This is my all-time favorite yarrow because of the color. It looks beautiful in any bed or border. It does spread. You'll see that there's a plant right over there, and that's probably it. But that's okay because I take advantage of that, and I take these plants and I move them to other areas of the garden and able to increase my collection of these and keep this one going. This is Terracotta. For the orange lovers that watch my channel, look at this color. Isn't it magnificent? That's Terracotta. This one I have been lucky in finding it at Home Depot and at some greenhouses, and I just love it. And it grows very fast and it mounds very quick. It also will spread, but that's okay, once again, because it's not an invasive spreader. You'll see a plant here, a plant there. It's a very slow spreader, so this is not an issue in the garden. But isn't it stunning? This is dark orange. I've only been able to find this one at Home Depot, but look at the striking color on it. It almost shows some shades of pink in it with the different oranges. I really like this one. Of course, I'm an orange lover, so if you like oranges, this may be one that you want to add to your collection. This is Sassy Summer, and it is gorgeous. Look at the deep color on this. This has become one of my favorites because it's so brilliant in the garden and goes so well with everything. And I just want to show you how much terracotta, how well it even looks with the dianthus, and how nice it looks with the catmint. It just looks great, or the nepeta. It's just gorgeous. It puts on quite the show. This is a 1-year plant, you can see right there, and that's how big it got. So if you need something that grows fast to fill a gap, this is the plant for you, and that's the terracotta. This one is hot paprika. Isn't it gorgeous? The color is amazing. It's a standout in the garden, and it's keeping its mounding habit very nicely in this bed, and it works well with other plants. The color is a really nice accent. I like it with the magenta petunias. I think it just looks really stunning. This one I would like to split and have more of them in the garden because it's just so beautiful. Here's the different colors of yarrow I have in my garden. There's one more here that's more of a pastel pinky peach that is not here because it's not in bloom yet. But you can see here the vast colors. Now, the Sassy pastels, which is what I grew from seed, I got from the seed company. I only got about 10 seeds in a package. It was very hard to grow from seed because it does not like to be overwatered. It prefers to be dry. So if you're one of those people that doesn't water your plants a lot, it is a perfect plant to grow from seed. But it is hard to find seed. The easiest way is to get a clump from a friend. But you can do tip cuttings on these. You can cut the tips off and you can plant them in soil and they will root. So that's a really easy method of growing yarrow. Yarrow are pretty vigorous growers. You will get a nice clump of 2 to 4 feet within the first year on most varieties. I find the yellow is about a 2 to 3 year plant. The nice thing about the yellow is it has the silver ferny foliage here, which is different from the other yarrows, which are more of a dark green. So that's what makes it nice. And it really stays on a nice mounding habit, and I find it does not spread. So it is very useful for a gardener that doesn't want a plant that spreads. These plants are not a ferocious spreader, so you might get one clump here, one clump there. They aren't going to invade your garden like some salvias and some of the different plants do. You'll find a clump here and a clump there. So you can take those clumps, dig them out, and move them to another area of your garden. A great way to increase the number of plants you have and add those brilliant colors to your garden. So here is the Sassy Pastel in a red. This is what people call Paprika. You can see here, there's quite a difference between the two. Then we have the brilliant bright yellow. I'm going to go for the front here. This is the vintage white. I got these at Superstore, at the grocery store. I love them. I've split them to make more plants. This is my tried and true, some might call it pink, I call it lavender. Yarrow. I've had this one for years, haven't seen it anywhere to purchase. And so every time I find a chunk in the garden or a clump in the garden, I will take it and move it to another area to make more of it, because this goes great with roses. It looks great with any kind of annual. If you're into the pastels, into the soft pinks and lavenders and whites in your garden, this is the one for you. Now this is the proven winner, Firefly Peach. And you can see it here. It's quite pretty. You can see the hints of peach on it. I don't know that I'd necessarily call it a peach. It's got a lot of a pink tone to it. This is Terracotta. If you're an orange lover, this may be the one for you. This is like it's been kissed by the sun. And this one I found at, I mentioned earlier, at greenhouses. Sometimes you can find it at Home Depot, but I love it. It's just so bright and cheerful. And then finally, this one here, I've exclusively found this one at Home Depot. This is dark orange, and I really like it. So if you put these three together, you can see the differences in the color, and definitely you can see the Firefly Peach definitely goes more pink than it does orange, mixing it with that group. So those are the colors in my garden, minus a couple more that are a little different. I will show you when it comes into bloom. That is more of a pale, pale pink. But these are the ones that are in bloom right now in my garden. I like them because they're really no work. They grow in a beautiful clump. You shear them back when they're done and you get another growth. They're easy to divide. You dig up the clump and you split them into as many plants as you want and put them wherever you want. And I think they're a great filler plant. You can also dry them. Now these are also considered an herb, believe it or not, but I don't see any purpose for it personally in my life using it as an herb. But you can see it has a variety of useful features about it. Butterflies love it. Pollinators love this plant. They gravitate toward it. I find they really like the yellows in particular, and I do see them buzzing around the reds. I like to mix the oranges, the various oranges here, in with a nice dark purple salvia. I think they look gorgeous. And this one will soften any border. It is hard to find a true white in a yarrow. I've had yarrow, and I think they're still in the garden where they're an off-white. And to me, when they dry out, they look very, very dirty, and they have a yellow tone to them. So when they dry out, they almost get a gray tone to them. But this is a clean white, and that's the vintage white. And I think it's a keeper. The more of it, the better in the garden, because white draws the eye into the garden so nicely. And pairing it with the Sassy Red, if that's not Canadian colors for Canada Day, I don't know what is. But look at that mixed together. No wonder pollinators love these plants. So I highly recommend, if you don't have yarrow in your garden, to track down some and plant it in your garden. I like it because it's a good filler when you're trying to fill an area and nothing else is taken off the first year. I would recommend planting these in particular in the fall because they get the winter to put down their roots, and then they are far more bushy. When I showed you this one around the arbor, that was 1 year that I had this plant in, and it's turned into a beautiful clumping mass. Now, I don't fertilize perennials, so I will not fertilize these, and they don't need it. They like it dry. They don't mind clay soil. They don't like to be waterlogged though. So if you live in a climate where you're rationing water, this is a really good plant for the garden because they're very drought tolerant. As I mentioned before, zones 3 to 9 is where these grow, and they are just beautiful. I like to see these like 3 clumps separated nicely of these colors together, like 3 clumps of the terracotta in a large garden. 3s and 5s, I think, would be gorgeous in them. But you can see here, this is a perfect plant for pollinators, for the garden, and for the cottage garden. It's a tried and true perennial that comes back year after year if you give it lots of sun. If you put it in shade, sun shade, or part sun shade, it could get a little leggy. But in my garden here, I've got it in multiple places. In fact, this one's in a darker area, and it's doing just fine. So I want to take and lift that clump and split it and make some more of this dark orange because I really like it in the garden. Like I said, with lavenders, purples, these are all gorgeous. So let me know in the comments which one you like best. But I don't think you could go wrong with any of them. I love them all, and I'm so happy to see more flowers, more perennials coming out in the orange tones. Although I have to say, there is a firefly berry that Proven Winners has just released that's going to be along this line. I've seen it, and I didn't purchase it because to me it's too much like these. And this is the one I've been after for years and finally found because of the peach tones. I think this would look really nice with foxglove in the peachy tones. I think that'd be really pretty. But out of all of them here, for uniqueness, this one draws my eye to my garden, and I have this around the gazebo. It is the most gorgeous. So anyhow, let me know in the comments which ones you like best. When the other one comes into bloom, which is probably a cross between these two, I'll share it with you and point it out in my garden. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful. If there's anything you want to grow in your garden that's a perennial that you really like, get some yarrow into your garden. It's not a thug. Thanks for watching. Bye everybody.